Back on Newsmaker, and we're joined by Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. Good to see you. I haven't seen you, frankly, I don't think I've had you on the program since the election.
Yeah, it's been a while, but thank you for having me.
You're welcome. A couple of things that caught my eye. The main one was you have gone pretty darn hard on retail theft. And that caught my eye because we know that there's this dollar amount in some other jurisdictions that is kind of allowing people to game the system. I'm thinking San Francisco, LA, Seattle, that up to a certain amount, sometimes it's quite a bit of money. Sometimes it's $1,500, $2,500 you can steal before it becomes kind of a felony. You've taken a different approach. Talk to me about that.
Well, you know, in Arizona, theft is governed by the amount that you take. So if it's under $1,000, it's a misdemeanor. But there are other crimes that can be implicated, such as the crime of organized retail theft. And that is a felony regardless of the amount. And we do have the capability in some situations to aggregate the amount so that these individuals who are going from store to store to store and maybe taking, I'll just say $900 in one store and $900 in the other, those amounts can be added together. And that is a lot of times what they're doing. We indicted a couple of people, one of whom had hit 12 stores in 6 cities in one day. And,
here in the Valley.
Boy, that adds up quickly.
Here in the Valley?
Yes, all in Maricopa County.
This is a maddening crime. Do you have any theory as to what's driving it?
I do. I think when these progressive prosecutors have gotten into the other jurisdictions and have been very permissive with this, and they've started this false narrative of saying, well, these are people who are, trying to live and trying to, feed themselves. That's not what's happening here. What is happening is these people are taking very resaleable items and they're fencing them to fund additional criminal activity. And I think a lot of people are coming here from those other jurisdictions. We're seeing a lot of people from California come here and commit these crimes here. And I think it's because they've gotten away from it with it there, and they think that that's going to happen here. And they're in for a rude awakening. So
you drew a calculated line in the sand to let these folks know, if you come here and do this, we're going to go hard on you.
Yes. In fact, I was just talking about one at my press conference where this individual is being held in on $45,000 cash-only bond and had hit, I believe, 10 or 11 different establishments in 2 days, and is from California.
Yeah, and we're all paying for this stuff.
We are. It's not only the cost of the theft, but it's the cost that stores are having to put into devices to thwart theft. And, it's so sad. I went and visited a local pharmacy recently, and we went down one row, and there was either plastic shielding over the product.
Oh, yeah.
Or there was an empty shelf.
Yeah. Good luck if you're a man trying to buy nice razor blades. I mean, this is, yes. I've seen it here in downtown Phoenix. There's a Walgreens here in downtown Phoenix. And I said, where are the hand carts? Where are the carts? And exactly. The lady told me, she said, too many people are using them to rip us off and then take off out the door. So we don't have carts anymore. And I thought, okay, again, the public's getting punished for this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just that, but I mean, we know that Target announced recently that they were shutting down 9 stores nationwide. Fortunately, none here. But in addition to that, I was told by them that they canceled the building of 8 additional stores.
Oh, yeah. And that's jobs.
When you think about that in terms of the diminishment of a community, yes, where people have a place to go to buy things that they need, and it tends to hit poorer communities first. And so these are people who perhaps are more dependent on public transportation. So now they have to go further to get what they need in terms of diapers and
I wanted to hit a couple more things while we've got you. Number one, you have been dubious of the federal oversight that's been ongoing for quite some time of both Phoenix PD and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. That's not really in your purview, but you've definitely stepped out because you've got some real concerns about what's going on and the money being spent, and show your work product, I think would be the kind of underscoring it. Tell me where you are on that whole issue.
Well, actually, the oversight of the sheriff's office is within my realm of responsibility because I represent the sheriff's office. And,
True. Yes.
This is something that started under the previous sheriff, Joe Arpaio. And so we are now 2 elections past Joe Arpaio, where we have a Democratic sheriff in, and yet this is still going on. And when you talk about what the initial issues were that were to be addressed by this, we're not even talking about those anymore. We're talking about completely moved goalposts to where they're trying to comply with other things. And what people need to understand is this has cost taxpayers in Maricopa County $240 million.
Wow.
And, my question is, what have we accomplished, in this latter part of this oversight that $240 million couldn't have been spent better elsewhere, to recruit good people, to get them trained, to have good leadership.
Do you have the same feeling about the city of Phoenix as well?
A Florida building downtown here for 3 years because we have to rent office space for the Monitor, but they don't use it.
Do you feel the same way about the city of Phoenix oversight on excessive force and questions about, things that happened a few years ago now?
I have the same concern that the same thing will happen, that the goalposts will move, because what happens is they bring in these monitors who have every financial incentive to not find compliance. And it ends up going on for decades as opposed to addressing the situation. If these situations are that bad, and I mean, certainly targeting racial minorities is a bad situation, this isn't something that should take place over decades. This is something that should take place immediately, either through new leadership, new chief, which Phoenix has, and get that addressed and move on from there so that they can go about the business of keeping this community safe. That's not what's happening.
You are seeking re-election next year. I'm curious because you got into this thing where you kind of went after Carrie Lake's attorneys and legal team. You were asking for attorney's fees for her rejected election lawsuit. They lost that lawsuit, and you wanted some payback for that. The judge eventually did not find in your favor. Why did you go there in what's essentially becoming an election year? That was an interesting step, and I wondered why you took it.
Well, first of all, we did seek attorney fees in the federal case, and we're successful in getting over $122,000 of taxpayer money back. And I think there's a huge misunderstanding about what I was seeking with sanctions. Sanctions means I was asking for the loser of a lawsuit to pay back the attorney fees expended by the person who prevailed, and those are taxpayer funds.
Yes.
It's not inexpensive to hire experts and legal lawyers to defend lawsuits that are being brought over and over again, and that's why I was seeking to get taxpayer money back.
One more thing. Why are we seeing so few executions in Arizona for people on death row who have been convicted? Their appellate issues have been resolved. Why the slow walk on executions?
Back in January or February, Governor Hobbs decided to put a moratorium on the death penalty in order to study it. And I wanted to extend some grace on that because I know she was new in office. But here we are in December. We executed 3 individuals last year. I attended the last of the executions. Her own Department of Corrections director, in an effort to get past the Senate, said that they've been ready to go on execution since May the 5th, and yet here we are with next of kin waiting decades to see justice for their loved ones. And it's basically Governor Hobbs has decided that she's going to take the law into her own hands, which the law does not allow her to do, and to single-handedly go against what Arizonans have approved, which is we have the death penalty for certain offenses.
Can you fight that out in court and push it?
Yes, we can. And we have done some work on that in terms of, seeing where they were at in terms of being ready, because initially we were told we can't do the execution because we don't have the training and the people. And then we were told when that they were able to do the execution. So we gave them we were giving them a little bit of time. They said that they needed to find a compounding pharmacist for the drugs. But at some point, we're going to move forward.
Okay. County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, we appreciate your time. Good to see you. And thanks for joining me on Newsmaker. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment.